And this is where it all began. Brideshead Revisited delivered a stellar cast into our front rooms, but the biggest star of them all was the setting, Castle Howard.
Well, the location wasn't a location just for a location's sake. It was a symbol of privilege and the life that the leading character had led. It was also sumptuous to look at, of course, easy on the eye and interesting, but it was there for a reason, so it worked extremely well.
I didn't want to be downstairs anymore when I was watching Brideshead Revisited. I wanted to be in that big house.
Castle Howard in North Yorkshire has been the ancestral home of the Howard family for over 300 years. And in 1979, George Howard, who was then chairman of the BBC, joined forces with the opposition to help create a huge hit for ITV.
Of course, working with Granada would have been seen as a bit of a sort of no-no area, but that didn't seem to worry him. And when the producer came to see us, we sat down for lunch. There was myself, my father, producers, and one or two others. And we went through lunch discussing the possibilities. And my father and I actually already made up our minds, but it was a question of negotiation. And by the end of lunch, we were casting it.
And with these stars and the Howards on board, filming began on Brideshead in the summer of 1979. It would take a crew of over 100 people 2 years to bring this epic tale to our screens.
This is the Archbishop's room, which was the room that they used for Lord Marchmain's death scene. And I think it's called the Chinese room in the original book, but what happened was that he decides when he comes back to Brideshead that he wants to die in another room. He doesn't want to have to go upstairs all the time. So they assemble the bed from different parts and take it down, or rather disassemble it, take it apart, and you have these scenes in the Great Hall of them running backwards and forwards with bits of the bed. And then they reassemble it downstairs in one of the rooms, the Chinese room, I think. And this is the room they used, and Lord Marchmain died in this bed in theory.
Oh, I do congratulate you. Ah, yes, indeed.
With actors including Lord Olivier at its heart, as well as a lavish location, Brideshead Revisited was lapped up by television viewers who tuned in their millions.
And now, if you'll all leave me, I'll go to bed.
The series was soon shown all over the world, meaning that life at Castle Howard would never be the same again.
We heard about Castle Howard through Brideshead Revisited, through watching it back in the States.
Castle Howard inevitably was something of a major star of this piece, and of course has been taken to the heart of the Americans, who are constantly going to visit it and able to appreciate not only the architecture but also the memories of Brideshead Revisited.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Mr. and Mrs. Howard, welcome to Castle Howard. Venture through the small gateway next to the red post box, and this will give you access to the gardens, gift shop, coffee shop and restaurant.
The effect on tourism here at Castle Howard is quite phenomenal. I mean, our numbers went up from 175,000 to 235,000. Our infrastructure couldn't cope. I mean, our loos collapsed, and we had to build new loos the following year. Our shop stock was depleted. Catering couldn't cope. The gravel paths would disintegrate. I mean, they were just like steamrollers had been over them. So it was a huge learning curve from that. I certainly remember it as being a happy period, as well as being a period of quite hard work. And I remember it with great affection, actually, because all the crew were terribly nice, and we all got on very well. It was like one huge, big, happy family.
2,637, take one, run!
Yes, it was hard work, but it was enjoyable at the same time. There's a lot of bonding between the actors, the crew. If you see some of the outtakes, there's a great sort of camaraderie there that I think it's very difficult to produce in something which is only produced in a short time. But this was over a long period of time, so everybody got to know each other extremely well. And indeed, even today, if you say to people, how have you heard of Castle Howard? A great many of them will still say Brideshead Revisited.